What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital. Let's talk about today's big market rally. We'll also talk about how I proactively managed my risk today. Before we do that, go ahead and do me a huge favor. Click the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel. And also, before we dive into the analysis, nothing in the video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Always do your own due diligence. And no YOLOing your entire account into zero DTE options. All right, let's dive in here. And let's take a look at our box scores. Today, my trend model stayed at a +3. And yesterday, if you watched the video, I was pretty uncertain. We were at this weird precipice where it was like, all right, I'm sticking to my guns. My trend model hasn't flipped, but we could very easily slip into the abyss here. Luckily, we did not. S&P 500 finished up 1.9%. The NASDAQ QQQ is up 2.74%. IWM small caps up 2.44%. Dow Jones, these dogs, were up 1.34%. And Cathie Wood's ARK Innovation ETF that everyone always makes fun of whenever it's down, they always talk about how she's going to blow up, was up 7.36%. Pretty stellar performance. Pretty much everything closed on the ding-dong highs right at the upper end of its day's range. And we did get a volatility crush. What I will note is that for a 1.9% move in the S&P 500, a 3.78% VIX crush, it's not so much. Anyway, breadth was very strong across the board, and we had 82.5% up volume today. So tough to complain about today's price action. You know, I've been heavily allocated in these growth stocks for a couple weeks now, just dove in really deep when everyone was super fearful. And here we are now. Now I'm just trying to stay level-headed, make sure I don't get pushed out of my exposures while we're still in this uptrend, and really just stick to my trend model, stick to my process. Now, in terms of news, nothing too crazy on the books today. Vinviz heat map. Look at this very beautiful price action. We had Nvidia up 6.94%. Our energy sector was an underperformer, which is great. We also saw that healthcare was a big underperformer as well. Sectors, check it out. Our KWEB China Technology ETF, it's in our top momentum slot. It's up 5.6%. All of these ARK Innovation funds, you know, they did fantastic. And what else was a strong performer? Emerging markets, internet, and e-commerce. Really just some broad strength across the board. Software has also been a great group. And we were pounding the table on software as a service, 2 weeks ago, literally as they were hitting their lows, and we allocated, we alerted it. So honestly, having a good process like it can really, just make your life a whole lot easier. I see a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people out there that they're just asking all of these questions like, when is the rally going to end? Or like, what is the Fed doing? Is the economy in a recession? And like, to be honest, there's no alpha in calling a recession after it's already here. Like, a lot of these questions, it's obvious that that person or that individual does not have a process. If you're looking to become more process oriented and you want to trade on a team, honestly, join the Pristine Capital trading community. Feel free to reach out with me if you have any questions. Go to pristinecapital.net. All right, let's take a look here. Style factors after that little infomercial. High beta style factor up 3.96%. We had the growth style factor up 2.85%. Very nice performances across the board. We did have some big earnings after the bell as well. We're going to have to see how all these names do, but I actually traded Restoration Hardware after the bell, so we'll dive into that when we get to the trades. All right, let's take a look here at our S&P 500. So let's see where we are. Let's put this in context. So we were talking about this the past couple days. The more extended you are from that 5-day EMA, the more in trouble you are and the more at risk you are of getting shaken out over something that is not the end of the world. So remember, yesterday, it kind of felt like it could have been the end of the world, right? It was just kind of like, oh my gosh, this is day 2 of the downturn. What happens if we just get that one big red candle? But we stuck to our process, and you can see like a day of price action can make a huge difference. That's why your process can't just be, if you're a swing trader, oh, I'm changing my bias on every 5-minute candle. It just really can't work that way. But take a look, we're now above this monthly value area high of 4120. So we did clear that resistance level, which is good. And we have this 50-day simple moving average above us at about 42.51. Now, I imagine there's a lot of players out there that they're like, how is the market continuing to rally? I don't get this. In the past, the old me would probably start fading the rally here. And we do have our non-farm payrolls data coming out tomorrow morning at 8:30. Ironically, if that number comes out very strong, that could actually have an inverse impact on the market, because it seems like we're in this phase where bad news is good news in terms of the economy again. But yeah, the old me would probably be like, oh, we have NFP tomorrow. The market's up a lot, so overbought in the short term, and I probably would have sold out of all my longs and started shorting the market. Now I know better. After, years of doing this, now I know when my trend model flips from +3 to +1, that is the time for me personally to start shorting. Now tomorrow maybe we get the NFP, maybe it is a little bit weak. What I did today was just reduce some long exposure. I much prefer to reduce long exposure than keep all my long exposure and then just add shorts on top of it. I find it's counterproductive. But anyway, another high level thing that you should be watching is this yearly points of control at 4186.25. There's probably a ton of bag holders that right now they're looking at this level and we're literally trading right on top of it. Who knows if more supply comes to market or if we can start busting through this level. We'll have to see what the river brings here. All right, let's take a look at these other headline indices and what did we have. We had the NASDAQ also putting in a stellar performance above this monthly value area. Russell 2000 also out above this monthly value area, and it's very close to that 50-day simple moving average. Honestly, it does seem like we have a test of the 50-day simple moving average in the near future. Same thing with these dogs of the Dow. All right, let's take a look and we'll check out some of my trades for today. And yeah, you can see we have this NFP data coming out at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. All right, let's take a look. Let's check it out. My trading volume is actually much higher today. Part of what I was doing was just taking profits. Another part was proactively managing risk. Let's talk about that. So I sent out a limit order to buy back my DigitalOcean short puts that I put on 2 sessions ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take these off when I have a 50% winner on the position. Sent that limit order out. That way I don't have to think about it anymore. I was on a conference call earlier today, and all of a sudden the alert goes off. Boom, I got filled and I was out. So yeah, I took that one off for a 50% winner. Let's take a look here. Wait, this is actually like the prior day. Excuse me. So yeah, this is what we went over yesterday. But yeah, these are the new trades. All right, so yeah, closed that DigitalOcean. I closed out my SPY June 17th 410 calls. Now, there's a couple lessons here. You can take a look at this note. I entered this one, I would say, with a bad trade location. Not the worst. I entered it as we were hitting this support level yesterday, but then we just cut right through it like a knife through butter. So honestly, with these options only being 2-week options that I plan on using for a scalp, pretty much as soon as I got back to break even, I was like, you know what? Let me just close these things out. Who knows what the market is going to do? Close them out for a small winner. I call this one a scratch. And then what do we do on the stock side? Take a look here. So by closing out my short DigitalOcean puts, that freed up some buying power. As I saw the market just starting to rip to new highs and really just like blow off, and like you start to see like the backflips on Twitter and like everyone just gets excited about the bull market again, I just made sure I did add a position in HPQ. This is a fantastic name. Shout out to Yaro from our trading community. He's the one that brought this up. So that's the best thing about the trading community as well. I have other people to bounce things off of. And now at this point, we have other people that are contributing, other people that have come up the learning curve, and they're giving everyone ideas as well. So it's pretty awesome. So HPQ entered a starter position. This is a name that Warren Buffett owns. And honestly, the chart pattern is just fantastic. Take a look here. And again, this is one of our members that brought this up. So check this out, HPQ. This is just elegance, decadence, and everything in between. Take a look here. So we're above this monthly value area. This thing has had, just a wild run over the past week or so. So again, you have to look at the path that the asset is on. You might look at this and be like, the stock's down when the market was up. This is a horrible stock. The stock just went from $34 to 39 in short order. And some of these key moving averages probably have to catch up. So yeah, honestly, this is the perfect time for me to get involved. And take a look at the weekly chart. This thing just looks like it's poised for a breakout. So yeah, I really like this name. It's Buffett approved. It's not like an incredibly overvalued stock. See, I added a starter position. And I did that knowing that, hey, off this NFP number tomorrow, the market could pull back. And that might give me a shot to add to this even a little bit lower. So yeah, just trying to think about worst case scenarios, honestly. Then this was me just proactively managing my risk here. I added this position in Hut 8 mining. Added this maybe a week or two ago. Thinking okay, crypto's oversold. This name, it's a fast mover. This could be a good long-term play, blah, blah, blah. The options are usually super expensive, so I can start selling calls on it. But honestly, the stock, even though the rest of the market has rallied very nicely, the stock has done nothing. So yeah, I closed this one out for $239. I had paid $248. Took a small loser. Again, I'll call this one a scratch. As put here, the stock has not shown me any evidence that it wants to lead. As a long-term bet, will it probably work? Yeah. But as a pro trader, I don't want to sit with the dead money. So you'll notice, like, if you're online, when the market is like crashing to the lows, everyone's like, manage your risk. And it just makes no sense. Like, when the market's crashing and you're already underwater, it's too late for that, honestly. You always have to have your risk management hat on, and you have to be willing to just be merciless and drop the hammer on any asset that's not really doing what you expected it to do. There's definitely this anchoring bias we have where it's like, once we make the decision, we want our decision to be right. So a lot of times we won't take those exposures off, but you really just gotta be merciless. And that's how you win over time as a trader. Another one that I closed out, my Ethereum. I've been holding on to this Ethereum on my crypto account for maybe like, at this point, like 6 months. And at the time, it seemed like a fantastic trade location. But Ethereum, some things have changed. The whole Luna thing blew up. I think there's a lot less confidence in anything other than Bitcoin. So I closed this one out for a 10% loss. And I put here, the only way to have a 20% or 30% loser is to sit with a 10% loser. I would rather allocate this to Bitcoin. So this is, on a day when I'm sure a lot of traders out there, they're just like, what can I buy? What can I buy? Like, this is awesome. I'm trying to take the opportunity to go, hey, right now the market's pretty good. If I'm holding on to things that are not doing good, there's no better time to just lock those off. And who knows, maybe Ethereum from here just like rips. I sold the bottom, but it's all good. Another thing I did, I sold some call options against my global e-common stock. Again, this rally's just been fantastic. Got a really good trade location on that global e-common stock. Just seemed like a good risk reward to go ahead and do that. I closed out my JKS common shares for a winner. And then in the after hours, like going into the close, I had like 30% cash. And I've been like in 96% invested for the last couple weeks. A lot of people have been like, oh man, this is not an environment you can be swinging in or long. And honestly, like, this has been a fantastic environment for the past couple weeks for us. So yeah, I was like, you know what? The going is getting pretty good. Let me raise like 30% cash. Maybe NFP comes along and we get some volatility. Then I can go ahead and deploy that cash. And in the after hours, Restoration Hardware reported earnings. And I really just scalped this thing after the earnings report. I actually listened to the earnings call maybe like an hour ago. And yeah, this company, they have an $8 billion market cap. And they reported earnings. They reduced their guidance, but they reported a $2 billion buyback. That's literally like 25% of the market cap. So I scalped this thing in the after hours, just flipped it in like 2 minutes for like $5, which wasn't bad. And then as I listened more, I actually bought the stock back for $296.50. And I put here, it appears to be a well-run company that's operating through a recession. They announced that $2 billion buyback. And honestly, when I was listening to the earnings call, like, these guys are pretty much saying, like, yeah, the housing market, like furniture and whatever, like, times are tough right now. Like, honestly, this probably is a recession. I'm sure, like, tons and tons of companies have been talking about this on their earnings calls. And that's why, like, for a lot of the retail traders I see out there, that they're like, oh, yeah, like, hey, I realize we're in a recession, and, like, I'm going to base my investment thesis off of that now. Like, you're honestly so late to the ball game. Like, everyone pretty much knows, like, we're in a recession. Yeah, Restoration Hardware. Let's take a look, see what this one is doing in the after hours. Restoration Hardware is about $1 or $2 up from where I bought it the second time in the after hours. And this is another thing for a lot of people that don't really do any technical analysis and they're just looking at the fundamentals. You might be like, how could anything go up? We're in a recession, for crying out loud. But honestly, the smart money's known that we're entering a recession for so long. And a lot of these stocks that are going to be hurt by a recession, like, they've gotten decimated. So yeah, it's very important to understand, like, the price action is like the latest and greatest data. The news is only important if it really, like, impacts the future, not if it's just telling you where we are and where we've been in the past. So yeah, heading into tomorrow, we have NFP coming up. Overall, things are in a pretty good spot. And yeah, just want to make sure if there's any volatility, I'm prepared for it. Honestly, the trades today, got me in that position where I feel good if we have any sort of crazy volatility. I want to make sure that I'm keeping my watch list up to date. I want to make sure I'm in the best opportunities within the market. So I'm definitely going to be doing some scans. I'll probably post some charts on Twitter. And if I find some really high quality setups, I'm going to share those with everyone in the Pristine Capital trading community. To everyone that's been watching these videos, I really appreciate you. You guys are awesome. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.